Now, in the last video, we looked at what you think about most of the time says a lot about what and who you are or who you will be. Do something enough times and it becomes as much a part of you as the way you walk or the way you talk. The answers to most of life's problems can be found with thinking first, then adaptation. More thinking, more action, more adaptation. The problem is that most people want the world to adapt to them instead of them adapting to the world. This is why we see so many people trying to change while trying to remain as much the same as they can. Now, in the next video, we're going to look at the unfamiliarity of change. Norman Vincent Peale, who was famous for his books on positive thinking, said that repetition of the same thought or physical action develops into a habit which, repeated frequently enough, becomes an automatic reflex. Now that habitual, then automatic reflex response does not give a flying fig about the morality, the appropriateness, the correctness, the incorrectness, the right or wrong of a thing. It only cares about repetition, okay? Do something with enough repetitions and it will become a part of who you are. It will become a habit. Now when we change, one of the biggest roadblocks is unfamiliarity. All the new changes we adopt, the new skills we learn, the new habits we try to instill in ourselves, these are all going to be sort of foreign to us in the beginning. The unfamiliarity naturally pushes us outside of our comfort zones. It is this shove outside of our comfort zones that can provoke feelings of uncertainty, lack of control, or a general lack of instability. We feel fear of the unknown, fear of the unfamiliar. Now, as I've pointed out before, we are naturally wired for familiarity. We like to take the familiar route in life, whether that's physical or metaphorical. Habitual behavior is the most practical. It makes us feel the most comfortable and it allows us to focus the majority of our brain power on just the things that we need to do in life, the most important things. Moving house is one example of the effect of automaticity that most of us have experienced at one time or another in our lives. For instance, imagine that you're about to move house. Over the time that you've lived in your present home, you've developed many routine habits, right, in your day-to-day life. Let's take an example. Let's just take an example of you getting up out of bed every morning. You throw your legs out at the same side of the bed. You reach down and put on the same slippers or your socks or whatever it is. You put them on in exactly the same way every morning. The right foot first maybe, then the left, or the left foot first, then the right. Then you stand up and you turn towards your bedroom door, which is in the same place as it always is, right? Maybe it's on your right. You reach for the door handle, which is on the left-hand side of the door, and you twist the handle down, pull the door towards you. You walk out of the bedroom and turn to the left and into your bathroom. Now, once you're in your bathroom, you take your pee that you've been down for. The toilet is on the left as you go through the bathroom door. And once you finish with that, you turn around to the wash basin, which is behind you. Over the wash basin is a mirror. You wash your hands, you take a quick glance in the mirror, you examine your reflection that's staring back at you. Maybe you spot a pimple or a long nose hair. Your toothbrush is on the shelf above the sink, so you take that down and you squeeze a dollop of toothpaste onto its wet bristles. Now, as you brush your teeth, you might daydream about the day ahead, what you're going to do at work, what you're going to say to a certain person, whatever. You might finish up in the bathroom by washing the sleep out of your eyes and combing your hair. Then you leave the bathroom and you make your way down the dimly lit hallway and into the kitchen. You know exactly where you're going to go. You switch on the kettle or the coffee maker. You turn on the radio and you gradually come to life. Now, you invariably perform this same routine every single day. You do this along with many other routines every single day before you leave work. You go through the same things time after time, day after day. And these routines are like mini habits, right? You don't need to think about any of them. You don't need to think about them, at least not consciously. You'll only become conscious of an action if something out of the ordinary happens. For instance, if you accidentally pee on the floor or you spill coffee all over yourself. Otherwise, you could almost perform these actions in your sleep. Now, let's say a big change is about to happen in your life. You're going to move house, right? Now, moving house is one of the most stressful times in any person's life. And one of the main reasons for this stress is because many of your automatic routines are non-transferable. Now, what I mean by that is that all of these routines, getting up in the morning, brushing your teeth, making the coffee, getting the kids ready for school, making the dinner in the evening, and the hundreds of other mini habits that you perform throughout your day, they're all environmentally based, okay? A part of the automaticity is in the familiarity of the location of your home. You can bring the toothbrush and the coffee maker with you to your new home, but you can't bring the automaticity of the toothbrushing and the coffee making routine, because that automaticity involves location specific triggers, right? So you'll have to learn many of these location specific triggers. You'll have to remap them in your mind. Now let's look at your first morning in your new home to make this a little clearer. You move to your new home, you've unpacked everything, you enjoy your first evening, you're watching your TV, you're relaxing, you go to bed, and you wake up for the first time in your new bedroom. And perhaps your first thought might be, where the hell am I? You look around, you don't recognize it. You know where you are, of course. So you get up and you notice that the bed is facing the wrong way. You haven't unpacked your slippers yet, so they're not waiting for you as you swing your feet out onto the floor. You stand up, you're bursting for your morning wee, but before you can even move, you've got to get your bearings. You've got to figure out which way that you're facing, which direction that you need to get up and go in order to get to your bathroom. So the door is in a completely different part of the room, so you need to think about which way you're going to move. Through the dim morning light coming in through the curtains, right, you spot the door and you walk towards it. Now you automatically reach for the handle where it was in your old house, on the left-hand side of the door. But as your hand flaps uselessly against the empty wood, you realize that, with a little bit of annoyance, that the handle is on the other side. Now as you move into your hallway, your bathroom is in the wrong place. It's not where it used to be, as are your toilet and your wash basin. Now you have to think about every little thing that you do, every step of the way. Where's your toothbrush? Where's your comb? Where's your towel? You'll be alright once you get that first cup of steaming hot coffee into your body. But where's the bloody kitchen? This is all stuff that you're going to have to remap. Of course, this feeling of confusion doesn't last long. You'll soon get used to the new layout. You'll build new location-specific data into your behaviors. Your neuro wiring will rewire itself, and your brain will remap. You'll create new neural pathways. Now, the unfamiliar will quickly become the familiar. Now, this is a very similar process to the one that you'll go through when you quit drinking. Many areas of your new life are going to be unfamiliar. Now, this unfamiliarity is responsible for much of the discomfort that you're going to go through. Once you stop drinking, your old automatic drinking behavior is no longer being satisfied, like we've said earlier. You'll feel at a loss about what to do. Quitting alcohol leaves many holes in your life that used to be filled by the drinking. But don't worry, you're designed for this lifelong adaptation, for your brains to remap themselves. Just as you'll quickly adapt to the new layout of your new home, you'll quickly adapt to the layout of your new alcohol-free life. The unfamiliar and the uncomfortable will shortly become the familiar and the comfortable. Those new neural pathways are slowly forming, and your brain mapping is gradually altering. In no time at all, you're going to find yourself well adjusted and well changed. Now, some of the things to think about from this video include that as humans, we love habitual behavior. It makes us feel comfortable. It makes us feel safe. It can be uncomfortable to stray outside of our comfort zones, but at the end of the day, this is where all the change happens. It's where all the progress happens. If you weren't willing to get outside that comfort zone, you couldn't move house. Although change can be uncomfortable, think about that moving home. We quickly acclimatize to those changes. You're designed for this lifelong adaptation. Just as you'll quickly adapt to the new layout of your new home, you'll quickly adapt to the new layout of your alcohol-free life. The unfamiliar and the uncomfortable will shortly become the familiar and the comfortable. In no time at all, you'll find yourself adjusted and changed. Now, in the next video, we're going to look at two opposing mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.